Welcome to another Boyish Rant. Over the last few days, there have been over 200 Black Lives Matter protests in the UK involving over 100,000 people. Most of these have been largely peaceful, with only a few instances of sporadic violence. However, in Bristol, they had their own form of protest. Last Sunday, a Black Lives Matter march involving 10,000 people tore down a statue of former slave trader Edward Colston and threw that fucker in the canal. Avon and Somerset Police said a decision was made not to intervene, and that decision was wise. And although Prime Minister Johnson has described it as a criminal act, one of Edward Colston's own descendants saw the video and tweeted, "Cool." And whilst I can understand and see where the authority figures are coming from regarding the removal of these statues democratically, but I bet they weren't erected democratically. And it's actually come out that several organisations and activist groups have applied to have this statue removed, to no reply. 27 times. Well, maybe they'll listen now that Google Maps has changed the location of Edward Colston's statue to underwater. The problems start to arise when people take this singular act and use it as a precedent, and we start tearing down historical statues in the street. This has, however, sparked Sadiq Khan, baller of London, to set up a commission to review the capital's landmarks in order to make sure they reflect its modern day diversity. It's called the Commission for Diversity in the Public Realm. In fact, while I was writing this rant yesterday, Sadiq Khan, baller of London, has already reviewed 3 statues in the capital and in the process removed one of them with a crane after a democratic vote. That's how it's supposed to be done. Having said that, you won't find me weeping if the statues of John Cass, Robert Milligan and Thomas Guy find their way to the Thames. But if we continue down this route, have we come that far from John Cass and Robert Milligan and Thomas Guy, who suppressed their own form of change and forced it to swim in the Thames? I feel social change is mostly effective when it's learning from the mistakes of the past, accepting that they happened, which is not an easy thing to do, and moving forward with a positive lesson. And I don't know how much this is a positive lesson. I feel it's far more productive to take these statues and place them in a museum somewhere, put them into context so that we can educate and teach future generations about the lessons we've learned about old ones. Boris was quoted as saying, "I understand the strength of feeling, but in this country we settle our differences democratically, and if people wanted the removal of the statue, there are democratic routes which can be followed." Now, the argument could be made that they did apply to have the statue removed 27 times. The problem is now that a precedent has been set. During a Black Lives Matter protest in London last Sunday, a group of protesters tagged an iconic statue of Winston Churchill, branding him a racist. That's not okay. I understand more than the average Brit just how controversial and contradictory Winston Churchill is as a public figure, but for his wartime leadership, he's arguably one of the greatest Britons of all time. Now, don't get it confused here. Churchill is a wildly contradictive character. He was racist, but he was also anti-fascist. Fiercely anti-communist, yet he carved up much of Europe and gifted it to Stalin. He is, without a doubt, one of the greatest anti-fascists in history, and without him, a true racist would have killed far more people over racial grounds than Churchill ever would have. This man deserves a statue. One of the main reasons that you're able to walk down the street and protest with free speech and you don't have to goose step to buy a pint of milk is this man. In fact, Sadiq Khan, baller of London, agrees with me on this, which is why the Churchill statue isn't in his new Commission for Diversity in the Public Realm. The reality is, if you're looking at historical figures through the prism of are they racist or are they not, there's almost no historical, political or social figure that stands up to those kinds of standards. Not Churchill, not Mahatma Gandhi, not even Malcolm X. Sadly, however, that message may be lost on some. As on the same protest on Sunday in London, one lone protester, merely 1 block away from the Winston Churchill statue, tried to set fire to the Union flag at the Cenotaph War Memorial. That's also not okay. Even supporters of the Black Lives Matter movement were worried that this vandalism would alienate the average Briton from seeing the actual message and the social change, and they're probably not wrong. Images like this create contradictory feelings, and it feels like the original message gets lost when feelings of empathy get replaced with anger. And I don't want people to come away from this video thinking that I don't care about the message, as I truly do. Like, I understand that Black Lives Matter, and I stand with you guys, you know? Fucking Wakanda forever. I was very proud to attend a Black Lives Matter protest in my home city of Birmingham, which is proudly multicultural. As well as being a beautiful and powerful protest, it was also the largest the city of Birmingham has ever seen in its history, and with a total of 0 arrests. That's how it's done. I'm proud of my city. I'll also be at the next Black Lives Matter protest on Friday the 19th of June at 4 o'clock in Victoria Square. I appreciate if you could come along and show your support for this cause, though I do understand why you can't. There is still a pandemic going on, and there will be gloves and masks handed out at the protest, and people will be bringing their own. Social distancing measures must be implemented, and I can totally understand why people can't come to it. But if you could, that would be pretty sweet. I'll leave you with a couple of clips that I got from the Black Lives Matter protest on Friday the 4th, as I feel like they have a very important message in them.
Fuck Donald Trump! Fuck Donald Trump! Fuck Donald Trump! Fuck Donald Trump!
Indeed. Fuck Donald Trump.